Welcome to Synchrony, building a conscious connection to your intuition. Are you ever unsettled? You feel like something is going to happen, but you're not really sure what that is? The premonition might paralyze you. You don't know what to do, so you do nothing. Only later do you discover that that wasn't your intuition speaking, but it was a distraction. Something was pulling you away from really hearing what your intuition was telling you. So let's talk a little bit about the difference between a distraction and an intuitive whisper, or how can you really begin to discern the difference between a distraction and your intuition? Now, I would say the easiest way to discriminate between the two is by really knowing yourself. And that takes time and effort. It really takes, you've got to know what triggers you. You've got to know if that feeling in the pit of your stomach is fear of the unknown, or if that fear or that feeling in the pit of your stomach is really getting you to recognize that something is going on with your intuition. It takes reflection and introspection. And by reflection, I mean it really takes getting to know what's going on, that full body listening, so that you say, okay, you know what, my shoulders are really tense today and I've got a headache, and that's distracting me. Or all of a sudden you have this piercing pain somewhere in your body, but it's not physical. It's your intuition trying to get a hold of you. But if you don't know your body, you're going to miss those cues. The same thing is as if you don't pay attention to your internal monologue and what your monkey mind is doing over and over again. If you're not paying attention to that, that too is going to stop you. So it's all about really paying attention to what's going on with you, so that you can begin to say, you know what, I think that's a distraction, or that's my intuition speaking. So it really takes honestly listening to yourself. You've got to set aside your agendas, your judgments, and your defenses as you really listen to your intuition. One of the things that I remember very clearly was when my son was just a teenager. He was in high school, and like all high school students, he liked to wear hoodies. And like all high school students, he walked a little too fast. So we were going into the mall one day, and he was probably about 4 or 5 steps in front of me. Well, as he went to grab the door, a man came out, and my son was wearing a hoodie, and I saw the look on the man's face, and I wanted to stop and say, "This is my son. He's a great kid." But it struck me then how a lot of times, he was up in arms. Oh my gosh, something might happen because this is a young man and he's wearing a hoodie. And for me, I thought to myself, you know what? How often do you judge that? When you see a situation and you're uneasy, how often is it because that's distracting you from from what I'm really needing to see? So what I would recommend, okay, so let's go through this practice where you can begin to weed out the distractions from your intuitive wisdom. When you get a feeling, no matter where you are, get quiet. And that might be a matter of taking a couple of deep breaths and breathing into your body and letting things go. Asking yourself, how am I feeling? And describing that with as many senses as possible. So when you get that heavy weighted feeling, what I like to say to myself, what does that feel like? It feels like maybe there's concrete pushing down on my shoulders. I might have a tinny taste in my mouth. It might just smell off, maybe a little rotten. If I listen, I might hear something in my mind. There might be actual words. And then the world might appear different to me visually. And so I need to sit with that and ask myself, what is that? And track it back to the root. When you track it back to the root, you can figure out, sometimes when I do that, I might even sit down and journal a little bit or do free association, and we can talk about that a little bit more, but it's just really following where that is leading, and to ask myself, where is the message resonating? And so maybe it's a matter of that I felt bad about something and that's surfacing, or maybe it's my intuition really trying to knock on the door and tell me there is an opportunity there for you to respond to your intuition. So you might find your intuition or your distraction in your body, like we talked about, a niggling thought that won't go away, or a dreaded emotion. And it may be a combination of all three. That's why you need to get to know yourself so that you can tell, is that a distraction or is that truly my intuition that is speaking? Now, again, sit with what you're feeling, all the information that you gathered. And so, what I talked about in the beginning, that's reflection. Reflection is gathering all the information. Now, when we moved into introspection, you begin to follow the emotion to the root, or to follow that feeling to the root. Get underneath what you're feeling to really see what's happening, see where the meaning is. And you may find what the distraction triggered. You may have a memory of a conversation you had with someone, or something that you saw, something that was unsettling. It may be another emotion. The dread you fear may be frustration, or it may be fear that's triggering all of this. You may be worried about something that's going to happen, or what you might be able to say to yourself is no, that really is my intuition speaking, so I can act upon it. Again, it takes a lot of practice to know who you are and to really know what's going on, to track your intuition or your distraction back to the root. It also takes courage, because although you do not know what you'll find, you've got to have the courage to go in and dig around and say, okay, is this my intuition and it's kind of scary? Or, what, is this a distraction and I need to let it go? It also takes curious daring, because really, who knows what's right around the corner? And our intuition may be saying to us, that's where it is. It also takes practice, because the more you practice, the more you know yourself, the more you know if what you're doing is intuition, or if what you're getting is a distraction. So what I usually say is respond. You can respond to either a distraction or your inner wisdom. Even if you get it wrong, continue to practice. I always say to myself, is my response going to be a danger to myself or another person? If the answer is no, then I respond. If I believe it's an intuitive nudge. If it's a not, I will know it is not. This isn't about being perfect. It's not about being 100% on all the time. It's about really listening to your intuition. And so again, what I would say to you is, anytime you get a nudge, even if you're not sure, and it's okay to wait to respond. I've had nudges before where I felt like I needed to take action, but I wasn't really sure. So I kind of put it in the back burner and I said, okay, I'm going to wait to see what happens. Well, what wound up happening was I had a conversation with somebody, and that person said something that triggered that intuitive nudge again. And I thought, you know what? I need to act now. And so I did. So it isn't an all or nothing. If you are not sure if it's an intuitive nudge and you say, I'm just going to wait a little bit, it'll come back to you. It's all about you in practice and having confidence and trust that you are intuitive. So I want to thank you for watching this video. Like it, share it with your friends, but most of all, live in awareness that you are intuitive and that there are distractions that will pull you away from your intuition. Also remember, an intuitive coaching session using the Synchrony process helps you identify your soul purpose, increase awareness of how you are distracted, and really how your intuition is incoming. It'll help you navigate the challenges, learn life lessons, and recommit to soul purpose. So if you're interested in that, just shoot me an email, check me out. You can send me a message on Twitter. I'm at Fire Serpent, FYRSERPENT, or you can get in touch with me at my website, www.intentandaction.com. INTENTANDACTION.com. Have a great day.